Freddie Washington, thank you so much for having us here today in your home studio. It's an absolute honor to be sitting across from you and hearing you play one of the most iconic bass lines of all time with Forget Me Nots.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I want to jump right in. Tell me, how did this session come about? How did you're a writer on this song?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What was it that that kind of got you together with Patrice Rushen? How did this whole thing come about?
Okay. With this song in particular, Forget Me Nots, this song came from me practicing. I wasn't even trying to write a Forget Me Nots.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just sitting up in the bed one day practicing, and I came up with this bass line. So I start playing, and this thing kept going over and over, and it just came infectious. And I played the line, and I had this idea in my head about how the breakdown was going to go and all this stuff. So what I did was I said, I think I got something here. So I went to somebody's little apartment and kind of recorded a little demo of it and got the whole thing together. Took it to Patrice. Took it to another songwriter first, Terry McFadden. Then we came up with this Forget Me Nots. Then I took it to Patrice and let her hear it. And then we finished the lyrics to the whole thing. So, then after that, she said, okay, I'm doing my record. I want to record this song. Then we went to the studio, and then one thing led to another.
Mm-hmm.
But the way we recorded it, it was no band. It was just me and a black click box. I'm just playing to no chord changes, no drummer, just boom, 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 tick. And that's me grooving the whole way through. And then after that, everything went on after me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So generally not the way you would do it.
No, it wasn't a conventional way to do it.
Yeah.
The way we were recording back then, because we were recording in the studio with rhythm sections.
And had you worked with Patrice before that time? Like, what made you think of her? Were you involved with the band at all at that point? Or what was the thing that had you think of her for this particular song?
Because I was doing records with her already.
Yeah. Okay.
I started recording records with her in 79, 80. And we had already done like 4 albums or 3 or 4 albums or something like that. And she was just on the radar,
Yeah. And did you think of yourself, or were you, sort of working as a songwriter in any capacity prior to that? Or was this kind of the maiden voyage and you just hit a home run on the first at bat here?
I was kind of writing, but not kind of a little lazy writer kind of thing. And, we were coming up with ideas because Patrice and I had been writing already. And then on my own, I just came up with this thing. And then it was like, okay, since she's doing projects, let me put this by her, because I'm kind of writing and I'm kind of not writing.
Right.
We're just grooving, going along, and whatever we come up with, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I remember talking to Paul Jackson Jr. once about Patrice Rushen, and he'd said that she was like a real stickler for time and that she made him a much better player. Do you have any stories that you could tell us about working with Patrice that are remarkable or stick out in your mind?
I'm not sure, but her being a stickler for time.
Yeah.
Because Patrice is a musician, piano player, incredible.
Yeah.
Songwriter, orchestrator. So she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
When she's putting something down, she knows exactly what she wants. She can write it. And we can read her stuff note for note, and it's right. So she is a stickler for time. She knows all the little innuendo, the scoops, and she'll write it all down, all that stuff. So yeah.
Because all her music has such a great groove to it, and like this is like one of those pocket bass pieces. And as we said before we got into it, it's we got more bass hooks than a tackle box, and it's just all over the place. And so all those pieces, even the transition, like before the sax solo, that was you already had that down. Kind of
already had it all figured out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And was this the bass that was used?
This is my original 73 Fender I had since the 10th grade. This was the bass that was used on that record.
Wow. And did you, we're both from Oakland, California.
Yeah.
Did you buy this in Oakland, California?
Bought this in Oakland, California from a professor. There was a store in Berkeley on College.
Okay.
I think it was Leo's Music.
Okay.
Used to be back in the day.
All right.
They had a board up there where people would post cards and, I'm selling this or I'm selling that.
Right.
And I took this card off, and there was a professor at UC Berkeley,
Yeah.
and on the back of it, it was like, I flipped it over, and it's like a 70. He had it as a 72 Fender Precision bass.
Yeah.
So I called him up
Yeah.
and went to check it out. $210.
Wow.
So I had $95. My godmother gave me the rest of the money.
Yeah.
I went and got the bass, took a curtain with me because there was no case to go with it. Went and got the bass, put in the curtain, wrapped it up, got on the bus, and took it back home.
Wow.
Yeah.
AC Transit all the way.
AC Transit all the way.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man, this bass could talk, man. So many hits that this has been a part of. That's amazing. And as far as the type of strings that you would have been using back then, what was on the bass?
It was Rotosounds.
Rotosounds.
Those were the go-to strings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rotosound Strings.
Absolutely amazing. And were you there as stuff started to come together as far as the session was concerned for Forget Me Nots? Like, were you part of the, like listening to all the overdubs that were happening? Were you there for that, or was it kind of like you did your part and then that was it?
For the overdubs, I wasn't there so much I was there when the drummer put his part on. Mm-hmm. I was there for all that. For all the vocals and stuff, I wasn't there for all that.
Okay.
But for the main part.
Yeah. And no guitar on that song, I don't think.
None.
No
guitar.
Yeah. So she didn't call Paul Jackson.
No, that's what freaked a lot of people. I was like, wait a minute, they got this song and then there's no guitar on it.
Yeah.
This is a different way of doing things.
Well, when we were just listening to it now, as we were prepping, hearing it without the bass on it, it really does sound, as I said, naked. Like it's really bare without it. Because usually you don't get to have that much of the bass is that forward.
Because see, I'm doing so much. I'm doing so much in the song. If I'm gonna, there's little things in between that I'm still keeping rhythm with.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm playing.
Right.
But I got.
Yeah, there's like the syncopation.
I'm keeping this motor going.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the way that I would think of like a guitar player doing comping. You're basically like, you're holding down the bass and you're basically doing what the guitar comping would probably do if there were a guitar on this.
Yeah,
you're handling it all.
Absolutely.
Man, that is so cool. That is such a cool story. I'm so glad to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say.
Thank you, yeah.
Man, well, I want to talk to you about another amazing female artist that you work with extensively, the great Anita Baker, and move on to the song "Sweet Love," and talk about your work with her and how that session went. First of all, do you remember how you first got affiliated with Anita? Were you touring it all with her, or was it strictly sessions, or how'd the relationship come?
With Anita, I was doing a lot of sessions at that time, and I was working a lot. So I got a call from producer Dean Gant and Mike Powell. They were working on this Anita Baker record, and they called me in we did the first thing I did. Yeah, the first thing, it was Sweet Love.
Yeah.
And we recorded it all live. Mm-hmm. She was singing with us as we were going down.
Do you think that was the vocal they used?
Probably some of it.
Yeah.
Some of it.
Yeah.
Because we were going for, see, back then when you're recording like that, you're going for a feel. You're going for a moment.
Yeah.
And once you got that magic moment, it's over.
So they baffle all you guys in? Because that piano sounds like the attack is like hard.
Yeah, they baffled all of us. They had us all baffled. She was in her own room. I was in the same room as the drummer.
Okay.
With, Ricky Lawson.
Yeah.
We were in the same room together.
Yep.
I think I was going direct and live on that one as well.
Okay, so you had an amp and you had DI. Mm-hmm. And Forget Me Nots, was it also DI and a live amp?
No, that was just DI.
All DI.
Yeah, that was all DI.
Any sort of compression also on that? Or
we used the DBX 100.
Okay.
It was at 100?
Yeah, 100, yeah. Because later in the 80s it would have been the 160.
Because we were all going through, we would use, on Forget Me Nots, we were going through the API console.
Okay, yeah. So you got a good sound there.
Yeah, it's a really good sound.
So do you remember what type of amp that you would have used for Anita's stuff?
That would have been SWR 400 with a 15-inch speaker, called an energy cabinet.
Okay.
I was using that a lot back then.
And would it have been this bass as well?
It had been this bass too.
And also the Rotosounds, or?
Was it Rotosounds then? I think it was still Rotosounds.
But probably the Bartolinis were on there by then, because
Yes.
that would have been more mid 80s.
Yes, the Bartolinis were definitely on there by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was it that had you, like, obviously this was a common choice that a lot of bass players were making, but what was it that convinced you to ditch the passive pickups that were the stock ones and move to these? Like, what did it give you as a session player, as a touring bassist, that you felt like you wanted to make the move?
Well, the reason why I changed pickups anyway, because those pickups got shot.
Oh, okay.
They just kind of crapped out.
Yeah.
And then I was like just in the market for what are the next pickups.
Right.
And they were the Bartolini P-bass pickups.
Yeah.
And my, the guy that did all the work on my instruments, he highly recommended those for me.
Yeah.
And when he put them in, I fell in love with them.
Yeah.
And I never took them out.
Yeah, I mean they have a signature sound for sure.
Yes,
and you can tell just from the indentation there on your low E string that you've had them in there a while.
Yeah, I'm in there.
So if you don't have any objections, I'd love to hear a little bit of your part on "Sweet Love." I mean, there's so many songs on Rap. You're on more than one song on Rapture, but I think that this one is a great one to kind of represent that. Would you play a little bit of it for us?
Absolutely.
All right. We will get right back to the interview with Freddie, but I want to talk to you about badass bridges that you see on Freddie's P-Bass. Now, P-Bass as it comes stock, of course, is a classic vintage bridge that you would find on any P-Bass. But the badass just gives you a little extra something, whether it's a little bit extra top end, whether it's a little bit more attack to the note. Guys like Freddie and many pros agree that the badass bridge just brings a little extra to whatever's going on with your P-Bass. Now, if you want to check this out and get an exclusive deal for our viewers, the distributor of the Badass Bridge, All Parts, is offering a special code that gives you a discounted rate on this very product so that you can retrofit this to your very own bass and get some of those great tones that you heard Freddie getting today. Head over to the website below, redeem the coupon you can see here and in the description, and get an amazing piece of gear that's just going to help improve with a very simple mod to your existing instrument. Now back to the interview with Freddie. Oh my gosh, Freddie. It's so good. I mean, I'm making you recall, this is like 40 years ago.
This is a long time.
When was the last time you think you played this?
Never.
Like after that day, because you weren't touring with her.
I wasn't touring with her. I wasn't working with her. There was no reason for me to play it. I might have played it once, maybe.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Man. I mean, like, that was about as flawless.
Because, see, when you hear that, that's my soul.
Yeah.
That's just a thumbprint.
Yeah.
And I can just go back and recall because it's me.
Man, well, I thought we were just going to go up to the chorus, but you were just grooving on it so hard. Yeah. I feel like, the spirit caught you on that one.
Yeah, it did. It took me back.
Oh, man. That was incredible. Yeah, so this was it, man. This was the bass.
Yeah, this is the baby. The sound, the touch, the tone.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, I don't have to play it.
Yeah.
It kind of just plays itself.
Man, I can feel that, and I imagine, just based on what you said, this chart probably didn't dictate exactly what you played.
No, it didn't.
It just kind of was a skeleton.
Yeah, it was a skeleton, and then it's like you're in the moment. Yeah. So it's like whatever your senses are telling you to do, it's all on the fly. And
as you said, this was all live, so you were with everybody else as it was in the room.
Absolutely.
And you were just there with Ricky Lawson, just doing it, man. And so one of the things I always say, about all of you session greats is that you guys are such uncredited arrangers, because all those lines, like when you're sliding up and you're just deciding like how you're going to approach that note. It's so instrumental to the song, that bass part is so iconic. And if they had gotten somebody different, it would have just would have been much different sensibility.
Because we do a lot of listening. We do a lot of listening and a lot of feeling. It's almost like, because you don't really know the song, you didn't get to rehearse the song, and we never want to go in the studio rehearsed. When we're doing a session like this.
How many takes do you think that was, like, with the whole band?
It was probably 2 or 3 takes.
Yeah.
No more than 2 or 3.
That was it. And that would have been consistent with any of the songs with Anita that you did? Wow.
Yeah. It's like the first 1 or 2 songs. If you don't get it by 3, you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
1, 2, that's the magic.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm still stunned. I'm such a fan of her music, and man, that song is just so great. So thank you, Freddie, for taking us through it. I want to pivot now to a much different artist that you worked with around the same time, the great Phil Collins.
Oh yeah.
And I was really glad to see that you were on this song, because typically Phil has got a very narrow roster of bassists in particular. He's almost always with Leland Sklar.
Yeah.
And I had always listened to this, and I thought, this is a little different than what I would have heard from Lee. So I was glad to find out that this was also the song Two Hearts, and that's from a soundtrack that he was a part of for a movie called Buster.
Buster, yes, absolutely.
And so how did you get the call for Phil? How did you end up on this song?
Oh, man. Lamont Dozier. I had been working with Lamont, and Lamont has been a hero of mine for years. So when they decided him and Phil Collins were going to work together, and they had the song ready.
Yeah.
Lamont gave me a call.
Yeah.
Lamont said, I'm doing a record on Phil Collins, and I need you.
Yeah.
To come down and play the bass.
And where was this recorded? Do you remember?
It was recorded at Ocean Way.
Okay.
Ocean Way Recording Studio. I think it was Studio Studio B.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would it have been this bass or?
No, this is going to be my Ken Smith 5-string.
All right. Yeah. So are we going to do a little bass change here for this?
We're going to change over for this.
All right, we'll change over and tell us a little bit about the Ken Smith. Like, how did you this was kind of your main bass up until then.
Yeah.
What was it that sort of got you motivated to kind of migrate to at least adding the 5-string into the arsenal?
Okay, so I came about with the 5-string because at that point, around 1986, there was a lot of Moog bass going on, and we could compete. They got the low B flat with the Moog and stuff, and so we had to, compete with that to get a low B. And a lot of the arrangers like Gene Page, he was writing for the 5-string bass.
Got it.
So we had to switch over quick.
Yeah.
So I forget the guy's name, but he had a Ken Smith. And I went and checked his out. And so what I did, I was getting session calls for 5-string. So I would have the session rent his bass.
Okay.
And then once I started playing his bass, then I said, okay, I'm going to New York to meet Ken Smith, and I'm going to get me a bass.
Yeah.
So after that, it was pretty much after I did Anita Baker's Rapture.
Yeah. So it's been mid-80s.
Yeah, mid-80s.
How much was a Ken Smith bass back then?
About 15. No. $500. Not. $1,500.
$1,500.
Yeah, $2,000.
Yeah, I mean, but in mid 1980s money, that's at least $5,000.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
yeah. So it probably would have been like a pretty significant investment as far as instruments, right? Because I bet a Fender bass at a Guitar Center that was new would have been under $1,000.
Yeah, it was under $1,000. Smith. I mean, even my bass. I mean, when I got it, it wasn't that much money.
Yeah. With all these hits you put on it now.
Yeah, but it's worth. Now we up to ante now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, man, and do you remember with Phil Collins? Like, was it like charts? Was it like we're just going to give you the chords and you kind of do your thing, or like what was the structure like of that session?
The structure was first the feel of the song,
right?
And there was charts. There was chord charts, but we got the feel first. So all the stuff that I played on there, that wasn't on the chart.
Yeah,
that was just chord changes, and I'm feeling the way that the melody's going, the way the drum, that whole Motown kind of feel thing, but new.
Yeah. I love that. And was Phil there for the entire session?
Yes, he was there. He played drums.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you're in the room with him and
did the room with him, the guitar player. I think Paul Jackson was on it.
I think I have here that Michael Landau was also on it.
Yeah. I think Michael Landau was on that too. Yeah. I'm thinking that David Williams might have been on that.
On that one too.
As well. And Aaron Zigman on keyboards.
Yeah, well David Williams is a great David Williams played Madonna and Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's too bad. He's another person that was just gone too soon, man. I wish he would be a guy that would be amazing to talk to.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Well, and was that DI? Was that bass? Was that bass amp? Was that both DI and bass?
That was both DI and amp.
And also the SWR, or was
SWR?
Okay.
Yeah, it was going to be SW. That was just my go-to thing then. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would have been this bass or the rented one. You think it would have been?
No, it was this one.
And same pickup configuration, everything
same. Everything stock, everything same.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what kind of strings were you using on this at the time?
I was using the Ken Smith strings.
Okay.
The 5 strings.
Yeah, so she still sells his strings.
Yeah. His strings are really good.
Yeah.
With a 130.
Okay.
With a 130 on the low B.
Yeah.
And I still put his strings on this bass.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's I had no idea about the it makes sense that you said you're trying to compete with the Moog and stuff like that, and all those Gene Page dates. Did you have to be able to be a reader for that? Because I understand those orchestrations are pretty difficult.
He wrote for everything.
Yeah,
he wrote bass lines, and he could write for the bass.
Yeah,
so you had to read.
Yeah,
to work with Gene.
Oh man. Well, I'd love it if you'd play a little bit of Two Hearts for us, if you're so willing.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get it queued up.
All right.
We will get right back to the interview, but first I'd like to talk to you about one of the sponsors that makes these interviews possible. It's our friends over at Sweetwater and their amazing program, the Sweetwater Gear Exchange. It's a platform where you can buy and sell used gear with your peers, and the amazing thing about it is you don't have to pay any seller fees as you ordinarily would with most other platforms, so long as you decide to put your earnings onto a Sweetwater gift card. And if you're somebody like me that's constantly buying and selling gear, it's a great way to basically create your own layaway program by way of these gift cards to accrue money and savings and then redeem them on the gear that you actually want. I've already purchased 2 guitars this way using the Sweetwater Gear Exchange, a 1961 Fender Stratocaster Custom Shop Relic reissue, and a Gretsch Smoke Brian Setzer model. Absolutely amazing guitars that I fully funded by way of the Sweetwater Gear Exchange. I recommend that you create an account. You can do so for free, start buying, and start selling. Now back to the interview. Holy smokes.
Something like that.
Man, it's just I just don't want to stop. I just want to keep watching. It's like this thing on a loop. Yeah. Man, first of all, this bass sounds incredible.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Man, yeah, it's such an iconic part, man. I'm just so happy to be sitting here.
Thank you, man. Yeah, this is fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, Phil Collins again, legendary, and yeah, I love that song. It's just great to see the whole thing, and I'm glad that you got to play through the bridge and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's a really cool little part.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I want to move on now to another one of my favorite songwriters that work with the great Dionne Warwick, Burt Bacharach being one of the greatest songwriters.
Oh yeah,
and the song "That's What Friends Are For."
Yes.
And you happen to play on this huge hit of hers, written by the great Burt Bacharach. And man, an all-star cast there from Elton John to Gladys Knight and Stevie Wonder, of course.
Yes.
And that just seemed like it was just so many powerhouses in the same room. Was this all done live?
Well, no, the Dionne was there for her part.
Okay.
But everything else, Gladys Knight, Elton John, Stevie Wonder was done later.
Okay.
But Dionne was there for the rock bed of the thing.
Yeah. And was Burt Bacharach there as well?
Burt was there as well.
Okay.
Burt was there. Carol Baker Sayer.
Yep.
If I'm saying her name right.
Yeah.
But she was there as well because she's a writer on the song.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what about in terms of like other session musicians? Because it looked like you got David Foster on that.
Yeah. I remember being there. John Robinson's on drums.
Yep.
Mike Landau.
Yep.
On guitar. Randy Kerber on piano.
Yep.
And was there one other person? That might have been that was the rhythm section for those sessions we did for them. Then everybody else would come in and do overdubs.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. But that was recorded live in the
all live.
All live.
Everything live.
Click track? You remember?
Yeah, click track.
Yes.
All right.
Man, and do you remember what kind of gear you were using for that particular song?
I was using my go-to the amp, SWR 400.
Yep.
With a 15-inch energy cabinet.
I know
speaker.
they're going to start selling a bunch of these on Reverb after you say this.
And I still have them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And this bass, or was it... I guess you wouldn't have had this one yet, right?
No, that song was recorded on a Yamaha BB3000.
All right.
Yeah, it was a black BB3000. I don't have it anymore.
Yeah. Is that one that you regret, or was it kind of just like, kind of too typecast for a certain
I don't
era?
regret... No, I'm not regretting that one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I made, the bass was the bass, but it's this that makes it happen.
Right.
So, I don't regret not having it.
Yeah. I get that, and so how did that session go? How did you get the call for because it was primarily used as a like a fundraising opportunity because for AIDS research, and then it was also on Dionne's record of the subsequent record that had come out. But how did it all kind of come together? Like, how did you get called for that one?
I got called by Burt Bacharach that he was doing a record on Dionne Warwick, and I didn't know anything about That's What Friends Are For. And it was for a fundraiser or any of that. We were going in to cut cut an album.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, in this record, this song happened to be on
Yeah.
what we were cutting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the order. I mean, maybe that came after, and they just figured this is a good song.
Right.
I don't know if the song was deliberately written for that purpose, or. But man, it's a beautiful song, beautiful melodies as you would always expect from Bert. You know,
yes,
just has
absolutely.
so many interesting ways to weave through a song, and man, do you remember, like, again, this being at Burt Bacharach is probably charted to some degree, or
It was charted. It was charted to some degree, a chord chart.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot, because in the song there's not a lot of movement.
Yeah.
It's just some feel good
Yeah.
football, half notes, whole notes,
Yeah.
this and that. But we ran it down a few times.
Yeah.
And then if you hear on the original record, I put a melody,
Yeah.
a bass melody line up high in there. But the first few times we ran it down, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
And then the last time before we took it, I started messing around with this melody line up top.
Yeah.
And I just put it on the record.
Yeah. And
So
everybody liked it then.
And yeah, it wasn't an overdub thing. It was like right before we started. You hear it in the beginning. I'll play it for you. But that was the only thing that changed, because the song was simple. But when I say simple, I don't mean simple like anybody can play it.
Yeah.
Because it's a touch and it's a feel, and it's you gotta have it's a certain kind of thing you have to have as a session player to make these things come alive.
Yeah, well, a lot of the guys that we've interviewed have said that sometimes it's even harder, you know, because you have to demonstrate restraint.
Yeah, you do.
And then understanding, again, like how to really serve the song.
Yes.
You don't have a lot of notes to hide behind.
Right,
you know?
that's right.
So everyone's got to count, you know. Beautiful. Well, I'd love to hear you play some of it if you're willing. And you want to stick with this one, or do you want to go back to the 4-string?
I want to go back to the 4-string.
All right, let's do it.
And I never thought I'd feel this way. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad I got the chance to say that I do
We will get right back to the interview with Freddie, but before we do, I want to talk to you about Rotosound Strings. Now, as Freddie mentioned, on many of the biggest hits that he played on, the string that he relied on for his signature sound was made by Rotosound. Now back to the interview with Freddie. Man, so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Taking me back.
Freddie. So how many times do you think you've played that since then?
None.
So I mean, we're looking at 40 years gap here.
Yeah.
And just flawless.
Yeah,
you know?
thank you.
I love that when you start off high though. It's such a. What do you think prompted you to go there? Like, do you just feel like it was missing something there?
It was just something that I was in the moment, and it was something because I wasn't doing it earlier on during the rundowns.
Yeah.
And it was something I felt, and then I said, let me go up high, and then I just came up with this line. It wasn't anything I had to work on.
Yeah.
It's just the line just happened. I said,
Yeah.
Once I went there, I knew the movement. Then
Yeah.
then when they ran it,
It was perfect. Then you're sliding down into it, and it's just perfect. When it gets the one, it's just like, yeah, it was the perfect setup. You know, it just sticks the landing perfectly.
And that's for us. That's the intuitions. They trust what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because even if it's something that's not there, we could end up doing it like just on the fly.
Yeah.
They trust us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely beautiful work on that.
Thank you.
I want to transition to another artist that you've worked with extensively, which is DeBarge.
Yeah.
And and the great singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist El DeBarge.
Yes.
And you know they've of course had tons of hits that you've played on, and also many samples that have subsequently come that likely have snippets of your bass on it. I want to talk about All This Love and how you got connected with them. How did the relationship with DeBarge start?
Oh man, you know something? I forget how I got the call. I don't know if El called me or the arranger called me. The arranger at the time was Benjamin Wright.
Okay.
He was doing a lot of stuff with them.
Okay.
I just know I got the call.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then from there, I was doing their records, and they kept calling me back.
Yeah.
Because I guess I had the sound.
Yeah.
And the goods that they wanted to just keep using over and over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would a typical DeBarge session kind of look like? Would it be overdubs? Would it be everybody in the room? Would it be live? Like, what would the...
It would be everybody in the room. L on the Fender Rhodes.
Yep.
Ricky Lawson. They use a lot of Ricky Lawson
Yep.
on drums.
Yep.
Charles Fearing on guitar.
Yeah.
Myself on bass, and that was it. It was 1, 2, 3, 4-piece rhythm section.
Yeah.
And that's how we cut a lot of that stuff.
And then they would just come back and do like vocal harmonies and stuff like that.
And they come back and do all the vocals later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And my understanding is from other interviews we've done is that although he didn't read music or anything like that, he was a pretty prolific musician and could play a lot of instruments. And
yeah, he was pretty prolific. He was really into Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
And he had a gospel background.
Yeah.
And then he had jazz sensibilities.
Yeah.
All this stuff, and he just was a really good songwriter, and he knew how to put this stuff together.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's been sampled so much is kind of emblematic of that fact, and he still sounds like amazing.
Oh,
he's really
real
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
I still love his sound now.
So, do you remember on this particular song what you would have used gear wise?
Gear wise, I would have, I got my Fender.
Yep.
I'm going to use a SWR 400.
Yep.
With the 15-inch energy cab.
Yep.
That's still my go-to.
Yep.
That's all the stuff I was using.
Yep.
And, you got direct and mic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. And was it pretty typical, like at that time, that they would just take those two sources, they just blend them and just kind of split the difference?
They would blend them, because I'll tell you this story. There was one story where I was doing a DeBarge date. We were recording at the studio called Kendon Recording Studio.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I got called to do the date, and the engineer's Barney Perkins. He recorded all their records. And one day I showed up without my gear. And he said, "Freddie, where's your stuff?" I said, "I thought I would go direct." He said, "No, that's your sound. That's a part of your sound." And I got my Carter's company on the phone. I said, "Get the gear over here right now." I felt so bad that I just didn't because usually, you get a call, you call your cartist,
Yeah.
deliver on this date at this time, this and that, have my gear. That day I didn't. And he read me. He said, get this gear here.
Yeah.
That's a part of your sound.
Were you an Andy Brower guy back then?
I was the Andy Brower guy.
All right. Yeah.
Randy Brower all the way.
They had all your. We've heard stories where they, if somebody had a certain mint that they liked, they'd have it ready for them. Did you have any specifics that the techs knew that they had to have ready for Freddie Washington?
My setup was pretty easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they knew what I needed.
Yeah.
They always knew what I needed.
Yeah.
If a bass was there at the shop, usually I've got my own bass. I'm at home. I'm bringing my own basses.
Yeah.
I don't like letting anybody handle my instruments. Just have my stuff set up, turned on. I have my own basses. I like, keep them close to me.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear a little bit of you playing the song, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's dive in. We will get right back to the interview, but before we do, I want to talk to you about buffers. Now, if you don't know, I am not just somebody who interviews these great musicians, but I actually make my living as a guitar pedal manufacturer. And one of the pedals that I'm extremely passionate about is called a buffer. And basically what it does is it ensures that even though you have all these different effects and pedals to get your signature sound, that you're not compromising the core element of just what the guitar and amp would be producing on their own. It ensures that even though you're running through all these different devices with long cables, that you're going to get the exact same sound as your guitar would be if it were plugged directly into the amplifier, despite running through all these different effects. I recommend that you check out our product called the Vertex Buffer Interface. And we have two different versions that are identical circuits. One that's designed to mount into our Vertex pedalboard systems, and another one that's just a standalone interface version that you can put on literally any pedalboard that is out there with whatever type of Velcro or fastener that you want. Please do check them out over on our website, vertexeffects.com. I'll also link various dealers of this product, including our friends over at Sweetwater. Now back to the interview.
don't know if I need to go any further.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a great song, though, man. Those are such great parts. And again, with him live in the room, basic charts, but this is just kind of how you're deciding to get to the notes. That's all.
Absolutely. So El on this session and on this song, El was very specific about the movement.
Okay.
So all these little things. Boom, be boom. He was very specific about those little movements in the song because he was like, when he was running it down on the piano, he was like, the bass part is going to be real specific in the movement. Yeah. But it had a calypso kind of vibe. Yeah. Kind of vibe to it. What you call there's another term that I just can't think of right now. But anyway, those movements were very specific. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he just, again, as we remarked earlier, he just has such an interesting, way of thinking about things. And as we talked about before, like, obviously Rhythm of the Night is kind of a different thing that happened much later, but this is kind of like this great amalgamation of like jazz and just, and the melodies are just so beautiful. And it's a mix of pop, but it also has this sophistication to it.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. I mean, the way he wrote it and the things he had to have in it. Yeah. That like the bass movements and there's probably some other stuff in there too that was,
or just having that mindset to even know, because he was probably in his 20s at that point. I don't think I wouldn't even know what to ask for.
Man, because working with him, every session we did with him, he was on it. He knew what he wanted. He knew how he wanted to shape it. Everything. Wow. He knew the movement and the bass parts. Everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so fantastic. Well, I want to finish on one last artist that, again, is just a small amount of the total artists that you've worked with over your amazing career, which is the great Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
And I want to know how you got connected with Herbie, how you came to play on this song and this record. How did you guys first meet?
Okay. So this is the crazy thing. I'm just getting out of high school. Okay. And 1970, I graduated in 76.
Okay.
I was playing in a top 40 band in Oakland called the Grove Street Band at the time. The drummer, James Levi, he went on to start playing with Herbie Hancock. So he was playing with Herbie Hancock with the great bass player, Paul Jackson, which was one of my heroes as well. So Paul ended up leaving the group. Then they got Jocko to come in. Then Jocko did some dates with him. Then Jocko had to go back with Weather Report. Right. And then they start doing this big bass audition. So all these guys flying over from all over the world to do an audition, and Herbie never found anybody he wanted. So the drummer made a suggestion. He said, "Look, Herbie, have we found anybody?" Herbie said, "No." He said, "Let me make a suggestion." He said, "I got a kid in the Bay Area that can play Paul better than Paul. You need to hear him." He said, "Bring him over." Yeah. So I went over and played for him, and he said, "That's what I want. Yeah, I want that right there." And that's how I started working with Herbie in 1977.
Wow.
And then what we're gonna do, that came a lot later.
Yeah, this is like early 80s.
Early 80s. Yeah.
And was it recorded pretty close to the time that it released? Or I mean, I know that there was a bigger gap back in those days.
Yeah, it was recorded pretty much close to the time it was released.
Yeah. Okay, and the song being just around the corner.
Yeah, just around the corner.
Yeah, and so for a Herbie Hancock session, what do those look like? Because obviously he's such a master musician. You would think he would know everything that he wanted. Yeah. What was it? What was he like to work with? What are those sessions like?
Herbie was easy to work with, man.
Yeah.
It's like all the music he knew, so prolific. He was relaxed. He was easy to work with. Yeah. But he knew all this music.
So charts or no charts or?
Well, on this one, we had a chord chart.
Yeah.
But Wah-Wah Watson was the one that put it together. Yeah. And Wah-Wah, it was like, Wah-Wah said, okay, this is going to be the bass line. And so this is this repetitive line along with these chord chart. This chord chart that's going on. So it was Wah-Wah, Alphonse Mouzon, and Herbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all live.
All live.
No click track for this?
Did we play with a click? I can't remember if we played with a click track. I don't think we did.
Yeah.
No.
And what bass would have been this bass?
It would have been this bass. Exactly.
Oh, man.
The original.
But with the passive pickups, probably if it was 1980 or 79. Or sorry, the original pickups, we should say. These Bartolini's still passive, but
yeah. Was it with the original pickups? I'm trying to think. It could have been with the original
yeah,
pickups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Early 80s.
Wow. Yeah. And do you think you were still on Rotosounds at that time as well? I guess you would have been.
Yeah. I'm still on Rotosounds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's a Bay Area guy, isn't he?
Who's that?
Herbie?
Herbie's from Chicago.
He's from Chicago. Okay.
Yeah, but he spent a lot of time in the Bay Area because of David Rubenson.
Okay.
And the Automat, that's where they recorded a lot of their stuff at.
Because I always think of him in San Francisco, or at least like there's a component of like kind of his story that seems to be all surrounded there.
Yeah.
When you auditioned, did you audition in Chicago or did you audition in San Francisco?
San Francisco at the Automat.
Okay.
There's a recording studio upstairs.
Yep.
And rehearsals downstairs.
Wow.
Rehearsal room downstairs.
Well, then that was good. You could stay close to home.
Yeah. I was just right across the bridge.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm wondering if we can get a little bit of that part from you.
Oh man, I would love to. I haven't played that in years.
All right. We'll get right back to the interview in just a moment, but I wanted to talk to you about our pedalboard building services through the Rig Doctor. Now, the Rig Doctor is the sister company of my company, Vertex Effects, and they offer various services that we just don't offer through Vertex, one of which is our pedalboard building services. And these are built by technicians with which I have personally trained and that will instill the same values in terms of tone and build quality that I would do as though I were building it myself. I oversee every rig build. I'm available to our technicians for questions and troubleshooting, and I can ensure that the quality of the product that you're going to receive when you get your pedalboard back after having been built by us will be 100% as good or better as anything that I would have done. We're using all premium soldered patch cables, all high quality audio grade materials throughout. We can use our Vertex pedalboard platform and buffers, or if you want to provide some of your own, there are options available for that as well. Head over to therigdr.com, check out our pedalboard building services, and get a quote today. Now back to the interview. Woo, man!
Oh man, I haven't played that in so long.
Yeah, you think it was since the session?
Huh?
Has anybody asked you to do it since the session?
No.
I mean, just so people know, there isn't like off camera, there isn't like a rehearsal here. We're literally just like dialing in the sound and then we're like just playing. So This is incredible. You have it. It's either just your compass is so dialed in, you can just do it at any time, or you just remember it.
Just muscle. It just comes all back.
The true north is just always pointed.
Because these little ways that I play, this is just how I play.
Yeah.
So the memory is going to come back. It's just knowing the chord changes, but the feel is going to always be.
Yeah, I mean, this is feel for days. It's just, man, it's absolutely incredible. And the other thing I was going to ask you about this is Sheila E.'s also on this.
Yeah, she's on it, but I think she came on it later as an overdub.
I was saying it's another Bay Area native.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Sheila E. coming on. So I appreciate that Herbie was recruiting plenty of Bay Area folks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he got some good ones.
Wow, man, this is so amazing, Freddie. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, man. It was a big time pleasure.
Yeah, well, I want to end the conversation today with something that I try to do with all of our guests, is where we show you some photos and some footage of yourself from days past, and have you talk about the context of some of those photos in short video clips. Okay. So if you don't mind, I'd like to show you some of those and get your thoughts and whatever you remember about what was going on there.
Do. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start by showing you a photo of you in the great Czech Rainy.
Yeah, I remember that.
So how long ago do you think this was?
I think this was like probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
We were in Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas, and I always call Chuck when I'm in town to come to the show.
Yep.
And that's when Walter Becker was still alive.
Yep.
And he brought this bass.
This is the Asia bass.
I think this might be the Asia bass, but he just got this bass because there was something wrong with the instrument, and he was so proud to have it back. Yeah. And I said, bring that bass, and I want to play it on one song in our show. And he sat in the show, and I got to play this bass.
So how many people do you think have played this bass other than him?
There's only 3 people.
Yeah. Charles
Mingus is one, myself, and Jerry Jamont.
So there's people we've never heard of, basically, is what you're saying.
Basically. Yeah.
Do you obviously you play now with Donald Fagen?
Yes.
Does he still come back and talk with you guys like before the show and reminisce on this? No. Bring him out to play one song from Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, what a legend, man.
Yes,
absolutely cool.
Beautiful guy.
Well, I want to now show you something of, and we referenced it earlier. Very young, Freddie, and you've got your bass as we see
the
here.
original. Yes.
How old do you think you were in that photo?
I think I was around 16, 17.
So you probably only had this bass for a year or so at that time.
I hadn't had it that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was this your first electric bass, or had you had some others before that?
I had a crappy electric bass. That I got from some kids. Yeah. And it was whatever. Yeah. But this is my first real bass.
And do you remember what amp you would have used back then?
I think I might have been using like something called a Winston.
Okay.
A no-name amp. It's all I could afford.
It was like something you could get like at a Sears or something like that?
Yeah,
like
you could probably get it at Sears. It was at a little music store. Okay. It's in my wheelhouse of price. And,
Do you remember what this gig might have been?
It was, this gig was a band I was in, and I forget the name of the band. It was another guitar player, a trombone player, drummer, and a vocalist. I forget if we had a keyboard player or not, and this was in a parking lot at a grocery store.
In Oakland or?
In Oakland.
Do you remember?
Off of Telegraph.
Off of Telegraph.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And I got one more photo and then a few videos to show. This one is with you and the great Donald Fagen. I'm not sure if that was Dukes of September or if that was just a Donald Fagen show.
Yeah, that was Steely Dan.
Okay, this is Steely Dan.
Yeah. So if he's picking up the melodica, that might have been Hey 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so how did you get to working with Donald Fagen and Steely Dan?
Well, in 2003, I was on the road with the Crusaders, and I get a phone call from their manager saying that Donald Fagen has requested that you come work with them. Then I said, my heroes are calling me. And then I was so like put off that I couldn't do it because I had already had a commitment. So I said, I want to work with my heroes. I said, so as soon as I finish this commitment, I can work with them. I just can't come right now. And then he said, okay. Then he called back. Then he said, well, Donald, since you can't work with him, Donald wants you to go in the studio and record a record with him. We did Morph the Cat.
Yeah.
And then that was in 2004.
Yeah.
And then 2006, when Morph the Cat came out, the summer of 2006, that's when I started working with Steely Dan.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was Morph the Cat, was that done out in New York or was that done out here?
That was done out of New York.
Okay.
Yeah, Clinton Recording Studio.
Yeah, because I think Donald's in New York, right?
He's a New York
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like doing a session for Donald Fagen?
It's almost like doing another session that I've done with this prolific songwriter and genius.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and he just has his stuff. He has it laid out, the chords, and he's specific, but he wants you to be you. You can, it's almost like your hands are not tied to what you can do.
Who did John Harrington play guitar on that record? And then who played drums?
John Harrington played guitar. Keith Carlock was on the drums.
Okay.
And there was another guitar player. I forget his name. And then there was a keyboard player, Ted, because he worked with them as well.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just
good. Yeah, I know sometimes he would use Wayne Krantz.
Wayne. There you go. Wayne Krantz was on it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Ted Baker is who I'm trying to think of.
Okay.
Piano.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let me show you a few short video clips here. These are going to take you back a bit. Here's one here. It looks like it was from an instructional video.
Rock groove? Yeah, okay.
There's your Smith bass.
Yeah. Wow. I remember this.
Still has a great groove.
Yeah. It's younger then.
Showing off the guns.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
Yeah. What was this?
It was like an instructional type of video with, it was Dr. Licks. I think that was Dr. Licks. And we went in and talked about, the bass and different styles and all this kind of stuff, and I gave him what I knew.
Was this done here in LA?
This was done in LA. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It was I was one of a few people that did.
Yeah, I think it was like dubbed like the Bass All Stars or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, here's another one, which is one of my favorite live pieces that I've seen you do. And this is with the great Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
And there's a show in the Redwoods. This is probably mid '90s.
Outside
and
of the Redwoods.
you see Chris Rodriguez there and Shawnee's coming on stage. Let me play a little bit of this one.
I love this.
Guitars doubling the bass. I think at some of these you did some BGVs too.
Yeah, I did. I was doing singing background, and that was one of the most favorite. That was at that time working with Kenny. I mean, I had so much fun.
Yeah,
and that was one of my favorite things I did with him. That live.
Yeah, I mean, you were all over "Leap of Faith," which I've been on record many times as saying it's his most underrated album that he's ever done, and you're on a bunch of those songs.
Yes,
got some fretless parts on some of them, and that live at the Redwoods concert is it sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And you were telling me before we started shooting that was like a month-long rehearsal for that thing?
Yeah, that could have been at least a month because, it was so many new arrangements and, rehearsal. We had to basically learn this stuff all over again a new way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had a lot of guests too. I mean, like Shawnee's being one of them. Yes. Michael McDonald was on there. Just a prolific band. Yeah, of course you had Chris Rodriguez and who's drums on that one?
On this one, that was Alvino Bennett.
Okay.
And they had Herman Matthews on some stuff, Kevin Ricard on percussion.
And you had Sonny Landreth playing slide.
Yeah, Sonny Landreth. Yeah.
So I mean, it was it's a pretty great series. If any of you haven't watched it, well worth the.
It's worth it because I still watch it.
Yeah, and you've got your Washburn.
It's for Washburn.
Or is it an acoustic bass or is it just a hollow? Body?
It's a hollow body, electric hollow body.
Yeah. So I was saying, it looked like Thundercat was stealing some of your thunder there.
Yeah, Thundercat saw that.
Because it's got the flame and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you told me that Kenny has that bass now.
Yeah, that's Kenny's bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just playing it.
How did you get connected with Kenny Loggins?
Oh man, something through his drummer Tristan Bowden.
Okay.
Tris called me to they were looking for another bass player. And Tris called me. He said, I think you fit this bill. Yeah. Just perfect. Yeah. So I went in and, it was no audition or anything. Yeah. Because I don't audition for stuff. And, it all worked out. We worked it out and boom, boom.
And did you play on the record right away or were you playing live with him first?
Live with him first.
Okay.
Yeah, because he hadn't started Leap of Faith yet.
Yeah, because Leap of Faith came out in 91, so they probably recorded that early 90s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we were doing live special event kind of gigs with Kenny, which were a lot of fun.
And was most of Leap of Faith recorded out here, or was it recorded at his place in Santa Barbara?
Most of it was recorded here in LA. I think over at I'm drawing a blank on the name of the studio at Westlake.
Westlake, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such an amazing record, and he just sounds always is just sounding incredible.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's incredible.
All right, one last one to show you, Freddie, and then we will complete for the day.
Okay.
So this one is with Sugarfoot. I believe that this is looks like some sort of clinic, presumably when you were doing the Michael Jackson history.
Yeah, the history tour. Yeah.
So let's have a listen.
One of my favorite songs to play with Michael.
Gary Smith bass.
Yep. That's my baby right here. Yeah.
So do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because we were doing clinics on our days off where we can book some clinics and stuff, and Sugarfoot and I would go and in whatever town we were in, and we had a sponsor, and they would set it up for us.
And do you remember that one specifically, or was they were? I'm sure they were kind of blurred together because it was probably a similar format.
That might have been in Germany somewhere.
Okay,
that might have been in Germany. I'm not surely about the exact place, but I think it was in Germany.
Okay, and so it was common that you two, I guess you guys, like kind of the rhythm section, it would make sense for you guys, or kind of would do it as a tandem.
Sometimes we would do it together. Sometimes I would do it on my own.
Yeah,
I would set up to do bass clinics myself, and then sometime I would do it with him.
Yeah,
yeah.
What was it like to play with Jonathan Moffett?
Oh, Jonathan was out of any drummer that's played with Jonathan, for me, that was Michael's drummer live.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's done some really cool videos where he's shown kind of in depth like how he would perform the parts.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's really good at it.
Oh man, he's the perfect energy and also just his vibe. You know, like he had the whole look. He had the vest, no shirt on underneath, and that's still his look.
Yeah,
you know? He's still going with it, and I love that. You know, and he's just got such an energy.
Yeah,
and,
he's a great dude.
What was the Michael Jackson tour like? I mean, because that was kind of like when Michael Jackson was still kind of in the zeitgeist of popular culture. That was kind of the last kind of tour where he was really like owned the world.
But still, it was kind of pandemonium.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we go into a town and they whisk him away like the president.
Yeah.
It was like one of those. And if you stayed at the same hotel he stayed at, they were going to shut it down at some point. This and that, and I'm like, it was like rock star, just rock star stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it was huge.
So were you guys usually constantly like accosted by fans and stuff like that?
Yes, fans, you know, day and night, especially at night, you hear fans out there screaming Michael's name.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay, I think I'd like to stay at another hotel.
How many years did you did that tour last, or were you on tour with him?
That was a two-year tour, 96 and 97.
Wow, and how many days a year do you think that was? Like more than 200?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think we were doing like, I don't know, 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must have been pretty exhausting working it in with
it was,
your days off doing all those.
Yeah,
those
I
clinics.
mean, because I wasn't doing clinics all the time, but you know, there was some spots where we had clinics going on and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you had to get your rest.
Yeah.
You know, for the tour.
And was that your favorite song to play on the bass, The Smooth Criminal? Because you had a lot of work.
I love playing Smooth Criminal. It was just something about that groove, that infectious groove.
Yeah.
And then I got to add some other stuff to it.
Yeah.
As well. That was one of my favorite songs in that show to play.
Yeah, man, what a great song, and man, yeah, it's so legendary that you get to play with Michael Jackson, and of course,
And that was his last tour.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you know, he passed away, and he was getting ready to try to do this other This Is It tour, but
yeah,
it was a sad day, and then I go back in my mind, I said, I did Michael Jackson's last tour. He ever did.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm really happy and proud about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Freddie, I'm just so grateful again that you were willing to hang out with us and talk about your career, and just thank you for everything that you've done for music and for bass players everywhere. You're a real inspiration, and you know, truly just in my mind, just a national treasure. You know,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.